podcast. I'm Ashley Hitchcock Francis, the Orange Lady, here to give you the tough but necessary juice you need to build and sustain your career. I've worked in tech, the public sector, and nonprofit sector, and I've made all the mistakes, so you don't have to. Today is the last podcast of the season. Now, don't cry. Listen to my iced coffee and be relaxed, or recognize you need to take a break and get whatever your preferred drink of choice is. Do it. Be nice to yourself. The podcast will be better. Or if you're driving to work or on the train, thanks for listening. I hope you smile at a neighbor. Make it awkward. Okay, since this is the last episode of the season, I decided early on in this season that I would start collecting stories. Some of these stories are from my DMs. Some of them are from meetings. I do weekly office hours for JuiceBar members. Some of them are just from friends or friends of friends. If you listen to the podcast Normal Gossip, and if you're not, please add the joy to your life. It is brilliantly done, hilarious, and it truly is just like normal gossip. It's like how sensational are just like these stories that we have in our lives. So I started collecting just all of these little stories and want to share some of them. Let's start with a few of my favorites. I have my whole list that I've been keeping, and I didn't pick them out I'm really going to look at the list, pick one, and tell the story that is written out. Okay. But first, I'm going to start with one of my own stories. Okay. To protect the names of the not innocent, I will not tell you which job this was. But let's just say I was working for a nonprofit. That doesn't really narrow it down. And there was an issue with the person that was allegedly the program manager. Basically, this person held the purse strings. And they were being incredibly difficult, to say the least. They would put all kinds of expectations that just didn't make sense, right? This person was in the philanthropy world, but did not really understand the true nature of the work that we were doing. So, being the director, I decided to meet with the board chair, because what else are you going to do? Like, this person is actively getting in the way of the nonprofit being able to complete its mission. You can't just let your team, you suffer, and most importantly, the people that you're supposed to be doing programming for suffer because of this situation. I was so nervous. Literally, this person was a billionaire. Which, okay, that's weird, right? And I wrote out my top 3 things that I was going to go over in this meeting. And, we're having coffee. First of all, this person decides where we're going to meet. Of course, what I wasn't going to pick. And it's in a hotel, fancy hotel restaurant, right? Probably 5 stars or something. So I'm already I don't belong here. That'll be the name of my musical. I don't belong here. That's what we've had the niceties out of the way. I am still so nervous. Probably drinking all the coffee wasn't helping. But I get down to blah, 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 X, Y, Z. These are the issues. And these are real issues because we can't then, do what we need to do, right? I kid you not. This billionaire says, well, Ashley, you know that so-and-so has single older woman syndrome. If you could see my face right now, if you could have seen my face right then, if you could have seen the thoughts in my head right then, I am so glad I didn't have food or coffee in my mouth, because I know that my eyes popped. I know that I was just did he just make up a syndrome and place it on the person and say, that's why we really have to take care of her. I was like, oh, okay, so we feel bad. What? Older woman syndrome? Older single woman syndrome. Anyway, needless to say, that was one of the last times that I was like, I'm going to I'm going to address this. I'm going to be the leader that I need to be and like make the change happen. And then I get hit with a made up syndrome as an excuse for why we should just let her be. Just let her do what she does. It's just a little project. Just like, okay. No problem. Thank you. Okay, can I leave now? That's the short version. Okay, so I told you I would start with a story of my own. So yeah, if you know anyone suffering from older single woman syndrome, please report it. It's very important. HR should probably be aware so they can give them resources. Let's pick number 3. Okay. This was from, it doesn't matter who it's from. I'm not going to tell you. And it's just a simple thing that someone was in a one-to-one with their boss and they were told, that I like everyone to be scared about their job. If they have job security, they don't work as hard. Now, both of these people talking to each other, boss and employee, have MBAs. They have, a master's in business. Assuming they have learned a little bit about organizational theory or, how work psychology, psychology in the workplace kind of happens. And if you've done any research in that regard, you know that when people feel safe and then when they have psychological safety, they actually perform better and are more invested. But please, tell me the excuse for why you really just are a horrible boss and want to terrorize people. Yes, this is a true story. Oh, this one. This is a simple one. This story is, there is a new employee at the company, and there is a boss that is talking about the new hire in a team meeting. And this person decides, instead of learning how to say their employee's name, shoot, I don't even know if I can tell this story. Let me think about it. Can I tell this story without? I think so. So they say, and we've hired a new person and, and no, I'm not tongue-tied myself. This is what they said. And person says the actual name. One of the employees says the actual name. To which then the boss person leading the meeting goes, oh, whatever. Migda blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean. So that's a fun day in the office, and somebody can't take the time to learn the new hire's name. It literally ends their name with blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I imagine that was a great day in the office. I mean, wow. This was just a question that someone sent me, and I think that we should answer it. And it's just, does everyone have a, quote, they slept with the boss person at their job? And I had to ask some follow-up questions. Like, do you mean like the person that you're like, how did they get that job? Or how do they still have that job because they are not good at it or they're not doing anything? Because if that's what you mean, yes. But I think that's a fair question. So let me know in the comments. You don't have to say where you worked or anything, or you can say a friend asked, told you. But do you always have that person? Is that like, it's like you have the personality hire and they're sleeping with the boss hire because that's how you justify they still have a job. Whew. My goodness. Okay. This is fun. This context is someone had a really great relationship with their boss for the first couple of years in their role. And they understood, though, they had kind of the rumors that this person, though, their boss, was actually quite difficult to work with for other people. And that, it's kind of a matter of time before you see that. But, it wasn't happening to them. So they were like, okay, I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. I'm so glad it hasn't happened to me, or it's not how we interact. But, So then fast forward. The inevitable happens. This person starts to see that boss relationship becomes contentious. And they are sharing this with a mentor that works at the same company that knows this person, because when recounting like something that had recently happened, they said, "Oh, that monster." And I tell you, my jaw fell to the ground when I heard this story. I was like, oh my God, I hope no one ever calls me that monster. Can you imagine? I would just be like, okay, I need to reevaluate my life. Like, that monster. Yeah. So that was like, if you think that your nickname at work could be that monster, take a vacation, take some therapy, see what benefits you have. Maybe just do some thinking and reflecting on the people that you've tortured and the careers that you've probably ruined, or at least the mental health that you've ruined. R.I.P. Okay. Whew. Maybe two more. This one. I was asked to assess the interviewer by asking questions in Spanish as a part of like an interview pool, right? Or, it was a panel. However, this person was the only Spanish speaker in the room. So this person is going to ask questions from the interview question bank in Spanish and then evaluate their answers while everyone else is sitting there and listening and like kind of waiting for the translation. Like, there are better ways. We can figure out if someone is bilingual or fluent or has like a skill set without throwing someone to like right before the interview, like, hey, you're going to ask these questions in Spanish and then evaluate them and let us know. It's like, well, what? Are you looking for the contents? Are you looking for the right phrases? What are my evaluate conjugation? Yeah. Anyway, okay, so that's fun. I will leave you with a final story. And this is about a problematic manager. This manager was known kind of as the office creep. This person just basically sexually harassed the team. Like, just so inappropriate, asked inappropriate questions, talked about inappropriate things, like you name it. And then fast forward. So like, that's just the context, right? Like, this person we all know. It's like, oh, stay away from, whatever. So this office happens to have a very public-facing store, right? And this store has, thousands of customers that are coming in and out. And one of the rules of this business is that you couldn't wear a zip-up hoodie to work, okay? we have clothing requirements. Sure. So, what would you do if you were working at the front, right? Like where all of the customers have to flow by, right? And said boss, manager, person comes up to you because you have on a zip-up hoodie. And they take your zipper and unzip it. Now, you might be thinking, because when I heard this story, was like, oh, that's such a violation. Like, that is beyond, like, wow, you have, and already you're like the creepy person anyway. Like, and it wasn't like in a, like, hey, you can't, it was a quick, just like walk up to you, unzip. And the employee didn't have on a t-shirt underneath. The employee also did not have on undergarments as well. So they literally took their shirt off in front of the customers. Yeah. You thought it was bad when you just heard that they went up to you and pulled down the zipper. No. We have so many questions. I think that telling these stories actually is making me realize how many questions I have about them. Like, what happened immediately after that? Did somebody run? Did people scream? Did somebody get fired? Did somebody walk out and never return? How was it addressed to the next team meeting? Like, that is the question. Like for so many of these things, it's like, how do we address this in the next, meeting or team gathering? Like, what's the follow-up? Is it we're going to ignore it? We're just pretend like nothing happened. We're going to address it head on because that's what we should do. Should we talk about how inappropriate it was or what you should do? Or, yeah, these are the things that we probably want to know. Let me know if you wanted to hear more career gossip stories from, well, all over. And, yeah, let me know. Also, since this is the last podcast of the season, I need you to do a few things for me, please, and thank you. If you love, like, or say get a little tingle from the pod, please 5 stars, write a review, make sure you are subscribed. That's a huge one. And share your favorite episodes. If it made you laugh, it made you think of your work bestie or your work wife, send it to them. Please share the love. And keep sharing your stories. I'll make sure that they are not identifiable unless it is my story and I let you know that it's still not identifiable. Okay. This has been fun. See you next season. I don't know what ice beverage I'll have, but cheers. Now I got the juice. Time to put it to use. Till next season. Bye.